The Atlantic provinces are one of the most sought-after destinations for Canadian immigration. You want to move to these 4 provinces, but you don't have a job offer and you're way past studying as an international student. You're a business owner or a senior manager with viable minimum net worth. What options do you have as a business investor or entrepreneur? There is a solution, even 5 solutions. Hello, my name is Reza and I work with PEI Canada's licensed immigration team to help business entrepreneurs and investors to move to Canada with their families. We're going to review the pros and cons of all these 4 provincial entrepreneurial programs for these Atlantic provinces. So let's get started. Prince Edward Island Provincial Nominee Entrepreneurial Stream. Here are the pros and cons of this entrepreneurial program for the smallest province in all of Canada. Here are the pros. A high school diploma is accepted as the minimum education requirement. You receive easy bonus points if your dependent children are enrolled in a school in the province 6 months prior to you submitting your application or your online profile. Again, you can receive bonus points just because your spouse has a CLB, Canadian Language Benchmark 6 score in either in English or French. The province will conduct draws every 45 days where you'll have a chance to be invited to apply, which is much more frequent than other provinces across Canada. Within 3 to 6 months after you've submitted your documents, after you've been invited to apply, they will review and hopefully approve you for a work permit. You should be running your business 12 months inside of the province after you receive your work permit. And the nomination will take 2 to 4 months. And this is one of the fastest nomination processing out of all the 4 provinces or even inside of all of Canada. Here are the cons. There's an age limit of max 59. Net worth $600,000, which will be audited by a third-party accounting firm designated by the province. All the provinces have the same requirement. It's a con, I know. Application fee of $10,000 for this province when you're applying. This is fully refundable unless it's refused because of a discrepancy where $7,500 of it will be refunded. If your language ability is CLB 5, you still get 0 points, which is so-so, right? You are eligible, but you don't get the points. Plus, this last point, it could be a con, it could be a pro. Community endorsement letter from a local community in Prince Edward Island can gain you an additional 15 points. So people who may not have that community endorsement letter lose out, but people who do can get those extra 15 points is a huge advantage. The last draw for this province was June 16, 2022. As of while we're making this video, and it was at 65 points, and we even had 62-point draws. So if your investor profile could gain 62 to 65 points this year, it could be invited to apply and to come with your family to the province to run a business and potentially convert to permanent residency. Literally, if you're a human being with business experience and minimum net worth, you can get these amount of points. It's not tough. We'll get you in. The Nova Scotia Provincial Nominee Entrepreneurial Stream. It's actually one of my favorite provinces. Here are the pros. There's no age limit. So no matter if you're 70, 30, 65, you can apply. But remember, the official retirement age in Canada is 65. The federal government will scrutinize your application further because it's past the retirement age. So as long as you prove that you're super hyperactive, even past the age of retirement, and you have no intention of retiring, it should be fine. Absolutely no provincial application fee. This is great news. So unlike some other provinces which do require a fee to be paid with your application, Nova Scotia will take 0. It has one of the lowest minimum investment amounts in all these 4 provinces of $150,000 in order to be eligible to apply. Minimum 3 years business ownership experience in the past 10 years. A high school diploma is the accepted minimum education requirement. Minimum 1 full-time equivalent employment opportunity for Canadians should be created, which is good because some of these other provinces require minimum 2. you will be able to claim 8 points for having high school diploma. And you do receive bonus points if your business is involved in exports. So those are the pros, and there's a lot of pros for Nova Scotia. Let's look at the cons. Well, like every province, it's a net worth of minimum $600,000. This is for every single province across Canada. A CLB 5 minimum requirement. In-person interview required in the province. It's a beautiful province. When buying a business, an exploratory trip to the province is mandatory. It's not optional. And it takes 6 months to process your nomination after you've run the business in the province for 12 months. The last published draw for this entrepreneurial program for Nova Scotia was December 2021 for a minimum of 119 points. Word of caution, it's difficult to gain enough points to this province if you don't have high language ability and education or ties to the province. So that's Nova Scotia. It's a beautiful province. I've visited there many times, and it's probably one of my favorite provinces in between the 4 Atlantic provinces. Newfoundland Provincial Nominee Entrepreneurial Stream. Here are the pros and cons of this great entrepreneurial program for the largest sized province in terms of land mass between all these 4 Atlantic provinces in Canada. Let's look at the pros. Have a minimum of 2 years business ownership experience. This is the lowest business experience requirement across all these provinces across Canada, not even Atlantic. No application fee at the provincial level when you're applying under this program. The only province which allows you up to 10 partners in the business you're buying or setting up to be included in the application or being part of the business. That means you plus 9 other people. They can be foreigners or even Canadians. Each partner has to meet the minimum criteria when they're applying. So if they're intending to apply under this program, they need to meet the minimum requirements, and you can't split the minimum investment or net worth across 10 people. Once of running the business in the province, you can become eligible for a permanent residency nomination. You do receive bonus points for economic priorities such as agriculture, technology, and natural resources. So if you invest in that industry, you get bonus points. Let's look at the cons. Well, $600,000 minimum net worth requirement, minimum investment of $200,000 to be eligible under this program. Minimum language score of CLB 5. An exploratory trip to the province is mandatory. It's not optional. An in-person interview is mandatory, of course. Newfoundland, Labrador, obviously a great natural province, lots of natural resources, beautiful nature. And if you do have any friends, families, or ties there, definitely recommend it because of the flexibility they have in certain criteria. The New Brunswick Provincial Nominee Entrepreneurial Stream. Last but definitely not least, let's look at the pros and cons of this entrepreneurial program for this very popular and centrally located province in the Atlantic region of Canada. Well, let's look at the pros first. The business or senior management experience you need to become eligible to apply can be claimed from the last 10 years. You gain bonus points for an exploratory trip to the province, which would have to be minimum 5 working days. And remember, don't come here for 4 days and fly out on the 5th day. They actually calculate the first working day after you arrive in your flight to the province, and the last day you're here before your flight. If your flight is that day doesn't count. So if you have questions on that, contact me because it's a little bit tricky figuring that out sometimes. Bonus business plan points for market research and bylaws and regulations. So that's huge, right? Because if you have a good business plan, you get bonus points. You also get bonus points here in New Brunswick for spouses minimum language score of CLB 5. Plus, there's a great small business investor tax credit in the province, which provides important source of capital for equity financing for New Brunswick. In case you're purchasing a small business, this encourages more investment in the province, and they do facilitate this process in case you're interested in investing and you're a serious investor. Let's look at the cons. Well, the max eligibility age is 55. After 55, you cannot apply under this program. You do require minimum post-secondary education after high school. Sorry about that. Your submitted business plan requires approval by a government official before applying, and a minimum investment of $250,000, which is the highest province in terms of investment compared to all the 4 Atlantic provinces in the region. and there's a very specific maximum percentage of expenses in your business plan that are allowed for each category. Right? So they're very picky on the business plan in terms of what you're allocating that investment amount for. Must create a minimum of 2 jobs for Canadians who are not relatives with families. There you have it, folks. That was New Brunswick, very popular province, beautiful, and don't miss out. Here's the last part of this video, and if you're serious, which I assume you are because you've probably watched this whole series now, here's the 5th solution in case you're not interested in applying in any of these provincial programs, whether it's because of net worth requirements, the audit, the provincial fees, or the points-based system or eligibility criteria. The 5th solution, drum roll, is the federal investor work permit. With the significant benefit category for work permits, which the federal government is offering qualified investors, you can come to Canada with your family without any geographic restrictions in terms of province or city, no age restrictions, no minimum net worth requirements, no audits, no points-based system, and still have an opportunity to convert to a permanent residency between 1 to 2 years after running your business here through the express entry system by issuing yourself a job offer from your own company. You can either set up a new business, a branch of your existing business overseas, a joint venture, or even buy a Canadian business inside Canada which is already profitable. And if you're stuck deciding between the provincial versus federal programs, we can qualify you and give you the easiest and most efficient program to apply under to minimize your costs, time, and guaranteed results. I know that was a lot to digest, but if you're serious and you've got what it takes, contact us and we'll guide you throughout the whole process. If you're deciding whether to invest or apply for one of these business immigration programs under any of these provincial nominee streams and require support from an expert team of business and immigration specialists who know what they're talking about, then look no further. That's our specialty here at Ingwe Canada. We will guide you and support you throughout the whole process. Our team in Canada speaks over 8 languages, and we're licensed to help applicants like yourself and your families move to Canada. We have $1 million liability insurance which protects you and us from mistakes or fraud, as well as a dedicated client trust account in Canada. And if you require assistance in terms of business immigration, well, let us know. Click the link in the description of this video below and request a free assessment. If you already know what you want and your timeline is clear and you're ready to apply, 100% serious applicants only, then you can also book a one-on-one session with me if you like by using the consultation link in the description of this video as well. If you have questions, remember that we're here live every Thursday on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at 9:30 a.m. North America Eastern Standard Time. So that's East Coast North America, like Toronto, New York, Miami, Ottawa, Montreal, Florida. That's the time zone we're in. And that's when we answer all of your Canadian immigration questions for free. If you have those questions, make sure you join us. If you're on YouTube, I will prioritize those questions first, but we'll still be streaming on Facebook and Instagram as well. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you in one of our live sessions.